The last section in Chapter 1 deals with dimensional analysis, which is something you have done a million times. It sounds a little more scary than it really is. So in dimensional analysis, you're going to convert from one quantity to another, and you're mostly going to use things called conversion factors. And again, you know a whole bunch of conversion factors already. A conversion factor is just a fraction whose numerator and denominator are the same quantity expressed in different units. So, for example, there's 1 inch in 2.54 centimeters. Right, here we go. There's 1 inch, you'd have that on top, and that's over 2.54 centimeters. The numerator and the denominator both equal the same distance. It's the same exact length. It's just different units. And you could write it that way. You might have to flip it around. Sometimes you might have to apply it this way, depending on what you're starting with and where you're trying to go. Other ones, there's 12 inches in 1 foot, 12 inches in 1 foot, right? If you looked at it at a ruler, you would see 1 foot, same distance is 12 inches. So those are just conversion factors. And the way you apply them is you're going to use the form of the conversion factor that puts the sought for unit in the numerator. All right, so if I started here, you have a given unit. All right, so given unit, and we'll do a bunch of examples. So we have our given unit, and the way I'm going to apply the conversion factor, like suppose I want to figure out, I have 24 inches. Find out how many feet that is, and you can do that in your head. So my given unit is inches. So in order to get that to cancel, I want the given unit on the bottom. So I'm going to put inches on the bottom, and the desired unit on top, whichever one I'm looking for. Desired unit on top. All right, unit on top. There we go. So I'll use the 24 inches, and I want to get to feet. Well, I know that there are 12 inches. This is my conversion factor in 1 foot, because that's the same thing. It's the same distance. Inches, feet, 12 inches is 1 foot. Now, since I'm starting with inches, I want to put inches on the bottom so that whatever I end up with, I'm going to have feet on top, and that's my desired unit. So in your calculator, you can kind of think about this as being like over 1. In your calculator, you can do everything on top. So you'd have 24 times 1 divided by 1 times 12. All right, so on top you have 24, and on the bottom you have 12, and then you just do top over bottom, and you get 2. And your units here are feet. You have 2 feet here. Okay. All right, so that'd be 2 feet. And if we want to go with the right number of sig figs, we'll put like a dot 0 there, 2.0 feet. So now we have 2. We start off with 24. That's 2 sig figs. We'll end up with 2 sig figs at the end. So your given unit, put the given unit on the bottom of your conversion factor, the one that you're looking for on top. And sometimes you'll have to do more than one. You might have to do more than one step, and that's okay. Let's try this one. So if you have a woman that has a mass of 115 pounds, what is her mass in grams? Can you convert from pounds to grams? And I'm going to give you most conversion factors. There's just a few that you should know, and I will include those in a list at the in the study guide. So you should know how many grams there are in a kilogram. You should know how many meters, how many centimeters there are in a meter, how many millimeters there are in a meter, that sort of thing. So centi, milli, and kilo, those are the prefixes that you should know. So in this problem, I'll give you, something, if you were going to go from, pounds to grams, I'll give you that conversion factor. And sometimes when you're doing the homework, that's the hardest part, just finding that conversion factor. I give you a table in the study guide. There's a table in the front cover of your book, and you can also Google conversion factors, and you can get a whole bunch of those that way too. So I'm going to start with 115 because that's the only number that they give us, and it's 115 pounds. So pounds is my given unit. So I want to put my given unit on the bottom here. So I go over to my conversion factor here. I'm going to put 1 pound on the bottom. That way, if I have pounds on top, they're going to cancel the pounds on the bottom. So I have 115 pounds. That 1 pound is 453.59 grams. So my calculator, I would just do 115 times 453. I have a 1 on the bottom. 1 times 1 is just 1. So when you work all that out, what do you get there? You work that out, put that in your calculator, you should get like 5.22 times 10 to the 4th grams. So make sure you put your units because grams are different than pounds. That'll be a big difference. All right, so sometimes you have to use several conversion factors. So if you want to go from meters to inches, you might be able to go from meters to centimeters because you know that there are 100 cents in a dollar, there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. And so you can convert that a bunch of different ways. So let's do this one. Let's see. Let's apply these conversion factors. So if I go from meters to centimeters, and then I can go from centimeters to inches, I know that 1 inch is what? It's 2.54 centimeters. And again, I'd give you that conversion factor. I would expect you to know there's 100 centimeters in a meter. We should know that. There, because that's just the metric system. So I would start off with the one number that they give us, right? That's what we're trying to convert that. That's our given unit. We have 8 meters. And then I would say 8 meters. Now I'm going to do it a little bit different than it was done down here. So if 8 meters, I'm going to put meters on the bottom. So which conversion factor involves meters? This guy. This is 100 centimeters in 1 meter. Since I'm starting with meters, I'm going to put 1 meter on the bottom. I have 100 centimeters on top. Now I have centimeters. I'm going to put centimeters on the bottom and inches on top because now I'm trying to go to inches. Don't use this conversion factor again. Once you use it, draw a line through it. It's over. You did it. Otherwise, you're going to go around in circles. This is the other one that involves centimeters. So since I have centimeters on top, I'm going to put centimeters on bottom. So I have 2.54 centimeters, and that's 1 inch. And then in my calculator, I would just do 8 times, that's an 8.00, times 100. I'm going to ignore the 1 because anything times 1 is just going to be itself. And then on the bottom, I have, think about that as being over 1. I have 1 times 1 divided by 2.54. And when you work all that out, what do we get? 315? 315 inches? Yeah? 315 inches? I don't know what's going on here. 3.15 or 315 inches. Yep, 315 inches. Ugh, that got a little messy.